So, welcome, folks. So, welcome to Wednesday. Welcome to autumn. Welcome to November. So, as in last week, no, not everybody was here, but as in last week, I'm going to do a breathing practice first. Yeah, so you won't need to see me. We will be doing the simple version of alternate nostril breathing. So, you're just using the thumb to close one nostril down, breathing in and out through the other, and then swapping over. So, we'll keep it simple with that, just so we can all follow, including me. So we'll be doing that a little bit longer this week, probably. And then we'll move into our theme, which is interconnectedness. Yeah, so we can use autumn, we can use the trees, we can remind ourselves about the most basic kind of interconnection of life between the trees and ourselves. So we'll be going in that direction through some visualizations later. So find your happy place. So find your way of sitting where you can do the breathing. Yeah, so that might be slightly different to how you sit ready for meditation. You might need to kind of move. You might need to just have something to blow your nose. All those things that kind of feel like just want them to hand to support me, so I don't feel kind of what's going on and distracted. So minimizing the distractions if you can. So for most people doing the breathing is easier if they've got their eyes closed, but if you prefer to have them open, that's also fine if you want to look at the view or you just want to look down a little bit to take the kind of strong sense of connection through the eyes, then do. And just finding a place to sit that feels comfortable without feeling collapsed if possible. So you still feel you've got that sense of an upright spine, you're feeling reasonably alert as much as you can at this time of day. And you can feel that you can focus on my voice, maybe at least from time to time, even though the mind and the thoughts and the feelings will come to the fore every so often. We can just let those go as clouds passing. So just starting with making that connection to the breath. So if you prefer to put your hand on your belly to get that connection really kind of solid, then do that. If you can just kind of notice it wherever you notice it, otherwise in the belly, in the torso, in the nostrils, and just checking out how it is today. So if your relationship with your breath isn't as good as you'd like, then just, keeping a soft, kind relationship for yourself with your breath. If your breath's feeling really kind of pleasant, then enjoy that. If you're finding you're more connected to the in-breath than the out-breath, then just notice that. If you're really connected to the flow of the breath, almost like a cycle, be aware of that. So our friend the breath can have many kind of sides to it, many shapes, many ways of connecting to it. So just being open to that, being open to the nurturing quality of the breath as much as you can. So that means just allowing the breath rather than trying to create anything at this stage particular. Kind of just making a hello, little bit of contact with the breath. Not expecting anything of it. Just being aware of its presence, its life, its energy, its movement. And being filled with that. So, like last week, so you can always stay at the stage that you feel happy with. So if you're just enjoying following the breath, please do. One other option is to move on to just gently count the length of the in-breath and the length of the out-breath. So that's just kind of meeting the breath a little bit more closely, but being also a little bit more focused on how you are connecting with the breath. And that might be different between the in-breath and the out-breath. It might be changing over breath to breath. And as that changes, your relationship to the breath might change. And it might make you feel different. So it might make you feel more relaxed. It might make you feel more alert. For most people, it makes you more relaxed. So if you're feeling too relaxed, you can either slightly open your eyes or just move a finger or two just to keep that kind of, okay, I'm here, I'm present. I'm still alive to my experience. So again, this is just an option. You can look at having the out breath a little bit longer than the in breath. So that might mean being a little bit active about that. So it might be you have a count of 2 or 3 broadly for the in breath, and you might have 1 or 2 seconds longer in the out breath. And again, that tends to bring more of a sense of relaxation. So if that's too much, then equalize the breath. But if it feels comfortable and okay to kind of explore and play with, then just see how that goes. So we're trying to just kind of allow a little bit of space for that extension with the out breath rather than create any force so that we're struggling with the breath. So we just need to meet our breath where it is. So these are just ways of engaging, playing around, seeing how it feels for us. So usually when we relax, we tend to feel more in the body, so more weighted in the body. That might be one feeling. Okay, so if you want to move to the alternate nostril breathing, what we'll do is we will breathe 3 times in and out through one nostril while the other's closed. Take a pause 3 times through the other nostril. That's how we'll start. So whenever you're ready, closing one nostril. If you can keep the lips gently closed so the breath is all through the nose, do. If you can't, then obviously make sure you feel safe and comfortable. So we're breathing in and out smoothly as we can through one nostril. And if it's not comfortable, we just take the thumb away. And when you've done about 3 with one nostril, it might be more by now, then just allow the breath to come through both nostrils for a moment. And when you feel comfortable, if you do feel comfortable closing the opposite nostril down, either with the thumb or with the fingers, then just closing that nostril gently. It doesn't need to be force closed. And breathing in through the opposite nostril. So sometimes when we get that kind of connection with the nose breathing, there's more of an energy, particularly by creating some form of restriction through the finger on or the thumb on one side of the nostril. So after your next full breath in and breath out, then again, just take the finger away, thumb away from the nostril and just breathe through both nostrils. And relax the shoulders, the jaw, if you've got tight, tense anywhere there around the face, doing that. You need to move the shoulders a little bit, move the shoulders. So we're just going to repeat that. So closing down one nostril if you're happy to. And just taking 3 or so breaths. Feel the power of the breath. So when we slightly limit the space for the breath, there's a considerable power and energy to that, particularly the in-breath. So just allow that to happen if you can. When you've done about 3 or so breaths, again, just allow some space for both nostrils to breathe. Again, your attention might be taken much more to the face and the whole of the nasal cavity, where you feel more space, hopefully, not too blocked. And then try the other side again for the second time if you're comfortable. Feel the power and the sense of the breath. And it might deepen your breath. And again, gently releasing the nostril when you're ready. So you can let the shoulders release, the hands find a happy position of support. And just let the breath all come back and feel very much a sense of the breath in the nostrils. That power of the breath in the body, that energy through the body. And let's take that into a greater sense of the whole body now. So if you can get a sense of the breath now, deep down in the pelvis, up through the belly, into the diaphragm, side ribs, up through the chest. But that might be really subtle, so just imagine it if you don't want you to force or make anything grander than it really is. And as the breath comes out at some stage, then letting that go out through the chest, out through the side ribs, out through the belly, and down deep into the pelvis. So that sense of the breath being very present, moving energy around in the whole of the torso, right down from the root, if you like, in the pelvis, right up through to the neck. Again, the power of the breath in that whole space in the torso from top to bottom. And then if you wish to, following that tree-like structure, the spine, so right from the base, almost like there's roots through the pelvis into the ground, following it through from the lower back, the mid-back, the upper back, and through to the skull, and almost like the skull, and beyond is the top of the tree. Yeah, so we can imagine our own structure in the shape of a tree. That feels pleasant or fine thing to do. Not just follow the breath now up from the pelvis, deepen the pelvis through and through the spine, around the spine, around the torso, creating that sense of almost to say a tree within the body. Our connectedness with trees, our own sort of physical connection through the body. And just being conscious for a moment of the sense of touch, the hands on the body and the feet connected to the ground, the bottom connected to the chair. So feeling a sense of groundedness, yeah, a sense of connection, as well as a sense of the breath being full, rich, connecting. And that sense of the spine growing from the base through and up through the body. So really being connected to the ground and also being connected to space above the head. So using maybe a bit of visualization now, going on a little bit of a journey. So if you want to join me on that journey, we're off to autumn. We're off to maybe something you've experienced in terms of a tree or a space of autumn colour. Might have been today, might have been yesterday, might have been recently. It might be something that's very deeply rooted in your imagination, that sense of colour, sense of space, sense of light, that sense of change. So looking around, maybe initially walking around, getting a sense of the shapes, colours, maybe getting a sense of the smells and almost the taste of autumn. The sound of autumn, maybe with the leaves, whether they're damp, whether they're dry. Blowing around you. The different sounds of birds, maybe less common, but still going to be sound of birds, life around. And part of the earth covered now by some of the leaves that have fallen from the trees. Maybe on your path, maybe around the area you're in. But still the colour on the trees around. Still that life, that connection, that colour, that kaleidoscope. Reds to yellows to oranges to browns. Still some greens too. So maybe now spending a little bit of time with one tree, maybe, or one discrete area in your imagination. And again, maybe find somewhere to sit that's dry, that's warm, to get a little bit more connected to a particular tree. And kind of really getting to know it for a moment, the bark, the shape of it, where the branches go, where the leaves are, if there's leaves still on the tree, the colours, the changing colours on the tree maybe. Maybe the shape of the bark, different colours of the bark itself, how the tree meets the ground, how it leans maybe one way or another way. As it reaches for the sky. And as we breathe, imagine that sense of connection to the life force, our connection to the tree. And you can almost visualize a circle between the tree and you, the breath, the oxygen produced by the tree, the carbon dioxide released from our own bodies, and that cycle of life through the breath, the in-breath and the out-breath. And that interconnectedness of life itself. That giving and receiving. All this happening in the background, but we can kind of bring it more to our attention. This sense of giving and receiving. And maybe now get a sense of not just the one tree, but the whole area of trees, maybe the path that you're walking on or you've been walking on, the park you're in, the valley you can see. So a bigger perspective like we did last week, just getting a bigger sense of the whole. We don't just have a relationship with one tree in one moment. We have a relationship to a forest, to the earth, to all trees, as they have a connection not just to us, but to all beings. In that cycle of life, in that simple breathing process. Giving and that receiving. So you can keep with that kind of set of images if you like, or you could bring things to a different level. So you may want to imagine the people in your lives that give to you like the tree, that you feel connected to. And maybe as you walk through into the forest, into the trees, and you're walking with those people, or those people kind of give a smile from behind a tree or next to a tree, whatever feels kind of comfortable and supportive. And receiving that sense of their love, their care, their kindness, that connection that you have, that interconnection that we have with the life of humankind as well as the life of nature. So like lots of trees, there might be lots of faces, lots of people with you, around you. There may be people you know well, there may be people you know less well, there may be people from your past, people from your present. Having that sense of warm connection. Giving that strength. Giving that power, giving that energy. Giving that support. Like the trees do. Like the strength of a tree. Strength of a forest. The beauty of autumn. And as you're filled with that warmth and connection, there are people in your life you feel need to kind of receive your care, your attention, your love right now, then maybe bringing them into this kind of cycle. And give a moment to kind of give your care and support as you see their face. Again, maybe they're with you, maybe they're amongst the trees getting the support from the forest, from the wood, from the colour, from the light, from the space. So we give and we receive. We rely on and we provide. We connect to the outside and the inside. As we breathe. So again, give yourselves time to breathe. To breathe and to be breathed. And to take in whatever aspects you wish to now. So whether it's the colours of autumn, the space to be outdoors, the giving, the receiving, this sense of greater connectedness to the outside and that connection to the breath inside. Bringing that into the space of the heart, bringing that into the space of the breath. And let the energy of the breath spread that warmth and energy throughout the body. So again, feeling the breath, in breath coming from the base into the top of the torso, so from the pelvis through the belly, through the ribs and into the chest without forcing, just allowing and imagining whatever breath in that whole space. And that cycle of energy from the base to the top and then back down like a cycle. Filling and emptying. Giving life, giving care, giving attention. Giving yourself time to be breathed and time to breathe. Now feeling the clothes on against the skin, your top, will be weighing on your bottoms, places that you feel warm from the clothing. Feeling a sense of skin on the hands, on the face, on the neck. And starting to just get a sense of the day. So you might hear the sounds from outside, the birds, the whatever sounds you hear from outside. Being aware of the day arriving, more light coming, more life happening. And when you feel ready, just moving the toes a little bit and moving the fingers, maybe have a little bit of a dance with the shoulders. If you feel like you want to stretch, have a stretch, gently open the eyes to the day, to the lights, to the autumn. And awaken one more time.